Adam Granger is, at least to us in the acoustic music community, one of the icons. He's been making acoustic music around these parts for several decades. Swing musician, flat-picking guitarist par excellence. He has written the book Granger's Fiddle Tunes for Guitar, which is used as a resource by most of the flat pickers throughout the country. And many of you may recognize the name Adam Granger from his early days as the wrangler on the Powder Milk Biscuit Band on Garrison Keillor's Prairie Home Companion. And he has continued to write for Garrison and make occasional appearances on the show to this date. So he's a delight. I think you'll find him more than entertaining. But we need to make him welcome. Please, Adam Granger.
Thank you. I just want to say, sometimes as a professional, you're more up than other times to play, and I'm really up for playing tonight. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to go well, but at least I'm really up for it. So it increases the chances that it'll go well. So quite a bit, actually. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I guess I'll never understand the crazy things you do. Day is night, black is white, down is up to you. You told me that you loved me just before you said goodbye. I know true love is hard to find, but girl, I'm gonna try. I got a U.S. map and a Cadillac with the compass on the dash. I got a checkbook in my pocket, I got credit cards and cash. I got brand new boots up on my feet, new tires on my car. If I have to, I'll go around the world till I find out where you are. Said you skipped out on your rent. Your friends always be luck, they said they don't know where you went. Your mother and your father cried, they don't know what to do. Well, I told them not to worry, cause I'm coming after you. Now you can't run away from love, when you gonna learn? I told you I'm the only bridge that's never gonna burn. I got brand new boots on my feet, new tires on my car. If I have to, I'll go around the world till I find out where you are. Thank you. That's a song by John Hadley. I actually what I did this morning for this concert was get up and pull out 4 or 5 of my albums and pick songs off of them that I felt like doing tonight. I don't usually approach it in that mercenary or commercial sense, but there is an artistic... Oh, the most beautiful musician's wife has just arrived. Oh, sorry, she's going to kill me for that. But I wanted to let you know there's a chair there, dear. She is going to kill me. Anyway. So it wasn't a commercial or mercenary sense, it was just all this repertoire that I kind of forgotten about, that songs, that I put on albums. So then you kind of get sick of them, you stop doing them, and then they lie fallow and do their time in solitary confinement for a while, and then you trot them back out. So I've got several of those, of which that is one, actually, and that I'll be doing tonight, and really enjoying it. Just spent 2 hours playing at the memory unit of the Edina Care Center, which was an amazing place. I play a lot of those places, 2 or 3 a year. It adds up to a lot. And that crew was really something there. So it was a wonderful experience. And it usually is, that's very interesting playing. You assume that the people are perfectly sentient, and a certain number of them are, of course. And you can't always show it, or art, it comes and goes, but anyway. Okay. I've got an album coming out in this fall called I'm Naked Under My Snowsuit. And this is the title song of it. I'm naked under my snowsuit. I thought you'd like to know. You'd think that I would be freezing cold out here in the snow when walking out with the family or chopping down a tree. Naked under my snowsuits, the only way for me. I'm naked under my snowsuit. It's really quite a thrill. It's free, legal, and not habit forming as far as I can tell. All that God has given me is cozy as can be. And naked under my snowsuit's the only way for me. The cover picture has already been shot for that album. I had to shoot it last winter when the snow was there, and it's going to be a big issue on somewhere whether or not I really am naked under the snowsuit, or not, you know. I'd like to do another John Hadley song. This is called "The Outrageous Melody Waltz." I just love this. I love this song. I'll just leave it at that. I've been doing it for 30-something years. Soft paper lights in the sweet summer night lit the way to the Birmingham Hall. The magnolia trees led me out of the street till I stood at the edge of the mall. Whirling and dancing, the young men romancing, the pretty girls under the moon. And the fairest of all, little Jenny McCall, in the arms of some local buffoon. I walked to the stand and conversed with the band, and I gave them the notes to a song that I wrote with my fist for an evening like this. As they played, everybody sat down. Everyone there sat on fold-away chairs, looking back like a pillar of salt. Well, Jenny and I danced off into the night to the outrageous melody waltz. Still madder than hatters, they still hold the Birmingham ball. We live in Texas with 3 kids between us. That's me, sweet Jenny McCall. What's left of the band chose to leave Birmingham, but you know there's none of their fault. You can blame all the rest on my sweet happiness and the outrageous melody waltz. This one's sort of Byzantine in its structure. It's a chain song. It's called Waiting on the Man in the Moon, I wrote. I wanted to date the brunette of my dreams. She sent my heart to a swoon. She smiled and said, I can't see you, sugar. I'm waiting on the man in the moon. Well, then this blonde I know, she called me up, asked me if I wanted to spoon. I said, I can't, I'm waiting on the woman who's waiting on the man in the moon. Now what if this blonde gets asked on a real hot date on a lovely night in June? She'd say, I'm waiting on the man who's waiting on the woman who's waiting on the man in the moon. Then if her suitor gets the eye of a lovely redhead, well, I'm waiting on the woman he'd croon. Who's waiting on the man who's waiting on the woman who's waiting on the man in the moon. Comes a dramatic part. Fate, hope, circumstance, they play such naughty games. Sometimes a second choice is the only thing remains. Waiting on the man who's waiting on the woman who's waiting on the man in the moon. How you gonna be up right now, sugar? You haven't got the groove. Waiting on the man who's waiting on the woman who's waiting on the man in the moon. Well, I say, baby, if the shoe fits, wear it. Don't you take it off anytime soon. Or you'll be waiting on the man who's waiting on the woman who's waiting on the man who's waiting on the woman who's waiting on the man in the moon. Here's my favorite swing tune. It's also the hardest swing tune I know. I always say that it's set up for disaster, much in the way that Houdini said, I might die. You know, it's that kind of thing. A little toned down level, maybe. But anyway, this is called Sermonette. It's melodies written by Julian Cannonball Adderley, and the lyrics are written by John Hendricks, who is a vocalese lyricist and the sort of kingpin of Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross, and is still performing actually with his daughters, last I heard. Yeah. Wonderful song, Sermonette. For those of you under my age, the Sermonette was the thing that came on first thing in the morning, last thing at night. Homily laden, always a man in a collar. Let us do this, and please don't do that. And, you know, grainy black one. Then it would go to the Indian head test pattern, and out it would go. So this is a hipster's version of a sermonette, I guess. I heard me a sermonette. Have you heard it yet? With that soulful message that you won't soon forget. It tells about real true love people lost sight of through their sinful living. It's born in heaven above. It tells us to love one another, to feel that each man's your brother. Live right because you know that you reap just what you sow, and so to have no regrets and to find what you're missing. Bow your head and listen to this sermonette. regrets. And to find what you're missing, bow your head and listen to this sermonette. Bow your head and listen to this sermonette. All right, it's time for another John Hadley song. I did a whole album of John Hadley. John Hadley's a friend of mine from Oklahoma. We moved to Nashville together in 1971, and he went to write songs for Tree, which became Sony Tree, and has since had over 700 songs published with him, 500 recorded. And I went on to be in a really crappy road band that worked towns like Fort Dodge, which they call Fort Dodge, which you know that up here. I didn't know that. And Pierre, which in Oklahoma they said was Pierre, you know. So I learned how to pronounce all these, you know. Fergus Falls we were in, and Miller, South Dakota. We played at the Virgil Lips Hotel and the Honda Lounge of the Virgil Lips Hotel. You guys know that? Anybody been to Miller? The second floor was the nursing home, and the third floor was where we lived, and it was a real trip. Anyway. So this song involves just a paragraph of setup, just because the words go by real quick. It's called Amarillo Jack. It's about a guy named Amarillo Jack. He's got a black Cadillac. His neighbor's wife is involved. There's a bottle of booze. There's a chicken and the chicken franchise out on the highway. There's railroad tracks. There's a speeding train, and there's a rendezvous point on the other side of the railroad tracks. So that kind of is a setup for Amarillo Jack. Amarillo Jack had a black Cadillac, had a bottle in the sack, had a lady in the back, and he didn't like sitting at the railroad track, waiting for the train to go by. He had a hot spot picked in the middle of the sticks, about 8 miles south of the Chicken and Biscuits. Jack bought a bucket of wings and a couple of pies. He tossed them wings to the lady in the back, pulled out the bottle in the sack, scratched up road with the black Cadillac, and they're heading for the rendezvous. Then the way out there in the middle of the night, there's a big old train stretched out real tight, longer than I'd had in jail. Your deadly games, there's neighbors, wives, and racing trains. Take your pick, there ain't no room for error either way. So here comes Jack to the railroad track with his neighbor's wife laying down in the back. I don't know, Jack, this might not be your day. Jack saw the light of the train, and it looked like a blind man's cane, tapping the track in the black Cadillac, and the whistle was going insane. And everyone knew by the way that she blew that someone was racing the train. Well, old Jack had been careless before. He was a daredevil straight to the core. But this was a chiller, a Cadillac killer. And Jack had her flat to the floor. Well, he thought he was making it through, except for a tail light or two. But that train was so fast that it nearly was passed, and the Cadillac hit the caboose. The crash was a sight to behold. It was a gasoline blossom of gold. And the ambulance lights and the curious eyes rolled round and round in the cold. And everyone thought, well, they shouldn't have stopped for the chicken and the pies, don't you know? Well, you talk about your compact cars. That Cadillac looked like a candy bar. Jack, pies and the neighbor's wife never have been found. And to this day I've heard them say when the kids go down to the tracks to play, an occasional chicken wing still hits the ground. Amarillo Jack had a black Cadillac, had a bottle in the sack, had a lady in the back, and he didn't like sitting at the railroad track waiting for the train to go by. He had a hot spot picked in the middle of the sticks, 8 8 miles south of the Chicken and Biscuits, Jack bought a bucket of wings and a couple of pies right before he died. Well, those who came looking for a morality story have gotten it, so. I've been a professional musician all my life, but I have had, until 25 years ago, I had to have a string of really crappy jobs. And so I made a list of them one day, and then I looked at it and said, there's a song, so this is it. It's called Some of the Things I've Done. And it actually is every job I could remember having done all my life. So. I pulled dandelions on the front lawn, kill flies on the screened-in porch. I mowed the grass for friends and neighbors. I did a lot of babysitting too, of course. I told Grit, the family paper, and a local newspaper too. Collected empty pop bottles for a nickel apiece and cleaned the kitchen when the cooks were through. I run the switchboard on the swing shift, cleared rocks in the heat of the Oklahoma day. I've been a pizza cook. I've taken care of books. I've been a test subject for the FAA. These are some of the things I've done, cause my daddy never took me aside and said, son, whatever you do, don't be a guitar player. I worked a graveyard shift at an all-night store. I've been a busboy at the Long Branch. I've stuffed envelopes and I've sold my blood. Roped goats on a horse by the seat of my pants. Been a chill water plant operator. I run a rotary injection molder. I've done a roofing, a framing, cabinet work. I mixed mud, laid brick, and busted boulders. Been a straight man for a bent comic and MC at talent shows. I front the country theme park festivals. I've taught guitar for Lord who knows how long. These are some of the things I've done, cause my daddy never took me aside and said, son, I'll give you $500 cash if you turn that guitar into a planter. For a tape book, sold fine family shoes. I've written comedy scripts and TV music, been a radio DJ too. I've written special occasion greeting cards and I've collated galley proofs. I've done a little odd house remodeling, and in the winter I shoveled the snow off of roofs. I've been a ticket seller and a corporate spy, a winter caretaker at a summer camp. I've gotten criminal legal discovery. I've driven motorhomes, I've driven moving vans, and these are some of the things I've done. And my daddy never took me aside and said, son, I have one word for you: plastics. This is your lucky night, folks. It's drop D, key of D, double play night. 2, 3, 4. Well, you can hi-hat me all the time. You may never look my way, but Mother Earth is waiting for you. There's a debt you got to pay. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care what you're worth. When it all comes down, you got to go back to Mother Earth. have $1 million. You may drive a Cadillac. Well, you may have enough money to buy anything you like. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care what you're worth. When it all comes down, you got to go back to Mother Earth. Afraid of dying, but there's one thing I can't forget. You know, no one's gone over there. Come back and talk to me about it yet. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care what you're worth. When it all comes down, you got to go back to Mother Earth. Where you came high, had me all the time. You may never look my way, but Mother Earth is waiting for you. There's a debt you got to pay. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care what you're worth. When it all comes down, you got to go back to Mother Earth. My white towel is way behind me, but I put that behind me. I just recorded that song with Alan Mundy. Oh, thank you. Right. My bottle of scotch is somewhere back behind that building there. If you could, sometimes it works. Actually, that does work. The Powdermilk Bisque Band was opening for Jethro Burns at the old Carlton Celebrity Room, and Sean Blackburn was in there, and somebody stuck his head in and said, we're in the green room. Stuck his head in, can I get you guys anything? And Sean said, bottle of Johnny Walker Black. And 5 minutes later, there it was, you know. I don't know who paid for it, but I know who drank it. That was in the old days. It was in the old days. Anyway, that song was written by Memphis Slim, whose real name was Len Chapman. And his A&R guy said a blues man can't be called Len Chapman, so made him change it to Memphis Slim, and he had a long, successful career. Let's do it there today. This is a song that John Hadley wrote about a guy. He grew up in a town near Lima, Ohio, and I can't forget the name of the town he's from. And there was an weird old guy at the dump. Wasn't there always? I mean, it wasn't my dump. I know. I think it was a paid city employee in my case. We had a guy that went around and shot doves. Or pigeons, and took him to the city for a bounty. And he pulled up in front of my yard one day in the middle of my hometown in Oklahoma and pulled out a shotgun and shot it and went and got it and stuck it in the trunk of his car with the shotgun and drove off. And so, there you go. Anyway, this is a song that John wrote about the weird guy at his dump, but he changed the guy quite a bit. He said that, in fact, in real life, the guy was a real grouch, and he was afraid of him and never would have approached him. This is called Feast for a Young Man's Ear. He was a beat-up, burnt-out storyteller, a slack-jawed, bow-legged city dump dweller, with a face like an axe and a mind like a cellar, a feast for a young man's ear. He told me the one about the traveling doctor who stopped by a farmhouse to pick up some water. smooth operator, he removed a man's daughter, a feast for a young man's ear. Laughed, almost died, till the day was nearly done. I thanked him twice for everything, and I followed his stories home. Everybody said that his head was haunted, and he lived off the old stuff that nobody else wanted. But nothing seemed to matter when his stories were counted. He seemed like a rich man to me. He didn't talk business, and he didn't talk climbing. He didn't talk nickel, and he didn't talk diamond. When I heard from the driver that the old man was dying, I knew that the stories weren't free. Cried, God, almost died, till the day was nearly done. I thanked him twice for everything, and I followed his stories home. He was a no-count, snake-eyed time waster, a lounging, scrounging pin-up taster, a cigar chewing, cheap booze taster, angel in a bottle of beer. He told me what I needed to hear. He's a feast for a young man's ear. Thank you. Well, I'm going to do one for people who came and thought they were going to hear an hour of traditional music. It has a traditional feel to it. It has that timeless feel that says, I feel very, very old. You know, it sort of wears you down. Sort of, you're going to go home and people say, how was the show? No, I hope I'm being facetious. I don't see anybody nodding exhaustedly in agreement. Let us pause in life's pleasures and count as many tears. Well, we all suffer sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more. There's a song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many years you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. There's a pale, drooping maiden who toils her life away with the worn heart whose better days are o'er. Though her voice would be heaven door. Oh, hard times come again no more. Oh, hard times come again no more. Oh, here's another one that I put that on an album that I have over there. 2 albums actually that I have over there. The last 2 albums I've done, that song is on both of them. But one's with the banjo player Alan Mundy and the other solo, so I think they're quite different. Anyway, I put in the liner notes that any songwriter who can write a phrase like "pale drooping maiden" and make it work, you know, is quite a songwriter. That was Stephen Foster that wrote that song. Another song I wish I'd written. I wouldn't have come up with the "pale drooping maiden" in a million years, I gotta say. That's just, that's genius. That's just genius. So anyway, this is a reworking that I do of a Carter song called "The Storms Are on the Ocean." It's a love song. And the low part is the man singing, and when I modulate and sing it higher, that's the ladies singing. Except this one couple I knew. But anyway, do it however you want. You know, I'm not here to play God. I can see the review now. The low point of the set came when Granger announced unnecessarily that he was not here to play God. The Richfield local paper the guy says, "I don't know where to start." Anyway, the storms are on the ocean. I'm going away to leave you now. I'm going away for a while. But I'll return to you someday if I go 10,000 miles. The storms are on the ocean. The heavens may cease to be. This world may lose its motion, love, if I prove false to thee. Who will shoe my pretty little foot? Who will glove my hand? And who will kiss my rosy red cheeks when you're in a distant land? The storms are on the ocean. The heavens may cease to be. This world may lose its motion, love, if I prove false to thee. Your papa will shoe your pretty little foot. Your mama will glove your hair. And I will kiss your rosy red cheek when I return. The storms are on the ocean. The heavens may cease to be. This world may lose its motion, love, if I prove false to the image of her kissing herself on the cheek. It got me. Have you seen that mournful dove flying from pine to pine? She's mourning for her own true love, just like I mourn for mine. The storms are on the ocean. The heavens may cease to be. This world may lose its motion, love, if I prove false to thee. The storms are on the ocean. The heavens may cease to be. This world may lose its motion, love, if I prove false where I have to start looking with special scrutiny at this song list to make sure I get the stuff in that I want to get in. That is good. You can kiss your own rosy red cheek till I return again. How do you like that? She's going like this. Putting the two together, you know. I think I got it. No, right in the middle. Wait for this guy to get by. Oh, he's going the other way. All right. It's our lucky night. So this is a song I wrote about 10 years ago. Maybe, I'll bet it's longer than that. It's been longer than that. Anyway, it's still one of my favorite songs that I've written. But of course, there's a lot of other songs that I wish I'd written, like I talked about. I've got a long list, and I'm going to start sort of to insinuate. I'm old enough now that I can claim to have written like Hound Dog. You know, I can say, no, I wrote that. When I was 13, I wrote it. Down in Oklahoma, prove as no one else alive. Go ahead and prove I'm wrong. About another 10 years, I'm going to be starting to do that kind of stuff, and don't think I won't. But anyway, for now, I got to play it straight. I did, in fact, write this song. Mr. Jones has got his butt glued to a big brown easy chair. Mr. Jones ain't had a good laugh since drop seat underwear. Mr. Jones, he quit his drinking, puts the money in a box. When he gets $1,000, he's going to walk that one-way walk. Mrs. Jones, she wears her hairnet like it was stapled to her head. Mrs. Jones, she shut her heart down after all was done and said. Mrs. Jones, she takes in sewing, puts the money in a box. When she gets $1,000, she's going to walk that one-way walk. Mr. Jones, he left for work one day, and he never did look back. Mrs. Jones, she left the same day, just as soon as she could pack. It had been a half a lifetime since they just sat down and talked. So neither one could know the other was going to walk that one-way walk. There's a black cat on the back porch. There are papers on the lawn. There's a nosy neighbor wondering, where has everybody gone? There's 2 postcards in the mailbox just above the welcome mat. They both say about the same thing. Don't forget to feed the a cat. I guess he was honking at the football players, not the musician, huh? Let's see. I thought it was B, you know. I said, yeah. The guy's singing, "You idiot." All right. It's another song I wrote. I went to a party, a dinner party, one of those affairs with too many forks, where the women blow smoke out the sides of their mouths and the men are all dressed like penguin dorks. An elderly waiter coughs at a matron, claiming that the crab bisque was off. And in the moment of silence that followed her outburst, I said, "If a clown cries in his dressing room, does anyone hear him?" It was apropos, apropos, apropos of nothing, but apropos just the same. Well, at first it didn't seem like the right thing to say, but when folks got home and they were getting dressed for bed, they stopped and said, "You know what that guy said earlier about the clown? That was really apropos." That's a radio station, had a traffic helicopter with a busted rotor, so the pilot, being something of a spirited fellow, used a corporate jet with a corporate jet motor. He was doing the high fine with the highway report and buzzing the freeway at Mach 2, and he decided to hover above the City Hall tower, and he recalled what they mean by that aeronautical expression, stall. Well, I said to the crowd of horrified onlookers as they dragged his badly mangled body out of the wreckage, "Did you know that there's a fish in South America that eats itself, starting with the tail?" It was apropos, apropos, apropos of nothing, but apropos just the same. Well, at first it seemed like the crowd was going to turn on me, but then the biggest and burliest one of them all stopped and said, "No, wait a minute. I think I know what he means by that thing. I think it's really, what's the word, apropos." A disgruntled ex-girlfriend named Darlene had climbed to the top of the reservoir bridge and was threatening to jump into the muddy water below. They called me in to talk her off the ledge, and I climbed on up at the top of that tower, and sitting there next to my ex-flame, I surveyed the city that lay far below us, and I said, "Look, Darlene, I can see your house from here." It was apropos, apropos, apropos of nothing, but apropos just the same. Well, when they dragged her out of the murky water and she was settled comfortably in a hospital bed, she said, "Well, at first it did hurt my feelings what he said about seeing my house from there, but then I realized it really was apropos." So you can never speak up and keep your counsel and stay mum and don't speak up and say what's on your mind. But just remember, folks, if you do, you might pass up that golden opportunity to say something that's really apropos. Oh, thank you. is a song that John wrote for a movie that never got made. The movie was going to be called The Only Way Home, and this song is called that too. And I remembered it from 36 years ago when he wrote it, and when I put together this album of John Hadley songs that I recorded. He had to dig it out and remember the lyrics because I couldn't remember them all, and we cobbled it back together. He'd completely forgotten about it. Let's do this little novel approach, and then we'll stay up there for the next. This is the last song. I gotta quit, don't I? Okay, well, this will be my last number, folks. Thanks to Marv Menzel and the Richfield Historical Society for bringing me in here, and this is great. Thanks for the great sound. It's really wonderful, and I'll bet the video turned out well. So thank you in advance for doing that. I appreciate it. Anyway, and it's been really great being here. This is the kind of gig that we live for, and I'm not kidding you. And if I won't be playing in public here in the near future, but I'll be out in Oregon and Washington with Alan Mundy for a bunch of dates out there. So if you are going to be out there, come up and I'll try to remember where and when, or I'll email you or something. I've been drifting, I've been stealing, I've been lonesome, and I've been talking to myself, and I ain't got much to say. Tired stories, and I heard them anyway. All those people stepping by me got a place that they call home. I got nothing but this wanting and these hands to call my own. How far am I from where I began yesterday? How much farther do I have to roam? I guess I'm weary of traveling and drinking my pain, but I'm scared of the only way home. How far am I from where I began yesterday? How much farther do I have to roam? I guess I'm weary of traveling and drinking my pain, and I'm scared of the only way home. Yes, I'm scared of the only way home. Thank you all for coming out. Good night.